Blissful tutor. Oh, ooh, it's 8:11. Love to see it. 2011 on the time. Let's go on and get it sorted. Hold on. Welcome, y'all. Once again, blissful 222 energy to all of you. All right, we are here, y'all. Let's just get this energy up on the road. As a reminder, this is not a space designed for comfort. It is a space designed for alignment. And what happens here is not performance, it is clarification. Anything built on avoidance, distraction, or borrowed direction will feel pressure in this environment. Not because you are being attacked or it is being attacked, but because it is being revealed. The fire here in this space is functional. It does not exist to overwhelm you. It exists to show you what is strong enough to continue and what is not. Let me get a change here on this beloved image. Could it be? Oh, it's a phone now. Ah, that's what it was. Okay. Makes sense. Let me see if we turn that on. Lighting is on, so I'm able to see. Perfect. Okay. So, it's important that while you're here, you're listening for what is shown rather than what you expect to hear. You're going to have to really hold yourself accountable up in this space. All right. And if you are one who cannot stand the heat in the kitchen, what do? You just get up on out of there. Don't come over here ever again either. Let's get into the 222 portal collective. And right now, as you see, what do you do with them? We got the moon in Taurus at a Gemini degree. You already know where this is going if you have watched the previous lives. First stabilization, second stabilization, and now the next step after those two, and refining the moment. While the moon is still in Taurus, but sitting in the Gemini degree of 15. So, just a little 1-2, 1-2 to get you in alignment here. Let me open up the chart I'm looking to discuss with you right now. Oh, went that far out. So, there are 4 elements. And as the moon travels through each of the signs of these elements, the pattern is the following. Fire moons initiate behavior. Earth moons anchor and test sustainability. Air moons articulate and decide. Water moons integrate and recalibrate emotionally, and back again. So while the moon is in Taurus at this moment, it's about anchoring and testing the sustainability of the behavior that's been initiated while the moon was in Aries. Some of y'all already, because you can't handle the heat, you're not even in this level of as to where the collective is progressing to. Just letting you know that now. For the rest of the collective, this is activation through value, alignment. As the moon continues through Taurus, while the Pisces-Aries bridge is still forming, the moves that have been made thus far was the first stabilization, Aries moon, standing up inside the new cycle basically, second stabilization, Taurus entry, rooting the shift into reality. Now this moment is the continuation as we are still in the cycle of the moon being in Taurus. Not so much the introduction of it as we are in the middle of it. This is where the question becomes, what am I actually willing to sustain? And it's much less mystical than it sounds. It's about value made visible through your behavior. value made visible through behavior. And if you are in tune, this moment should feel different from the initial entry into the sign of Taurus, where the earlier Taurus energy calmed the system. Now, at the middle degrees, Taurus begins testing commitment. The moon now is no longer just grounding you. It's asking, will you keep choosing what stabilizes you or return to urgency patterns? That's why this phase often feels quieter but more demanding. The Pisces emphasis is still dissolving old motivations, while the Sun, Mercury, Venus, and the North Node remain in that sign of Pisces, which means you're still shedding emotional residue that is tied to past expectations, imagined futures, and roles that don't belong anymore. With Mercury conjunct Venus, your mind and your values are syncing, which is the embodiment of coherence, or when the brain and the heart align. You're realizing what matters by noticing what you no longer decide or desire to feed. Basically, emotional decluttering. The moon in a sextile to Venus and Jupiter, support is available, but only if you receive it. These are some of the most constructive aspects, as a matter of fact, in the chart. The moon in a sextile to Venus and Jupiter supporting you, if you allow that support that is available, as they open pathways for cooperative exchanges, financial recalibration, relationships based on mutual steadiness, and emotional ease returning gradually. However, for this to occur, Taurus requires participation, because support is only going to flow where effort is consistent. With Mars in the square to Uranus, the old action style that keeps attempting to reassert itself is showing up. So you may notice flashes of impatience or the urge to disrupt everything again. That's the square. Mars has a desire to accelerate, while Uranus demands innovation. But with the moon in Taurus, it's saying, do not blow up what you've just stabilized. Refine it instead, which is the difference between evolution and reaction. While Saturn and Neptune in the early degrees of Aries, identity must be proven through action for self, or must be actualized through action. As these two are still extremely close, shaping the long cycle ahead, the new self that is emerging now basically is aligning with being less performative, more direct, and defined by what you repeat daily. This is that type of energy where you don't announce the identity, you live it quietly until it becomes obvious. Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, growth still comes from the inside out with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer. Jupiter expands, but in retrograde, the expansion is internal, assisting you to strengthen emotional and practical foundations first. The visible growth phase comes when Jupiter turns direct, the 11th of March, and thereafter. Right now, you're basically reinforcing the base so it can hold. All in all, this phase right now, what it actually is the eclipse. If the eclipse was the reset and Aries is the awakening, the moon in Taurus now is the entry of grounding. All in all, this is alignment through repetition, where you are deciding what belongs in your life by continuing to do it. Now, with Taurus moon at this Gemini degree, which is basically in essence the bridge between grounding and mental re-engagement, It means that you are no longer in a pure stabilization. You are now in the transition between embodiment and articulation. Because Taurus has been anchoring, slowing the pace, rooting decisions into reality, and choosing what is sustainable. But in the late middle placement at 15 degrees, Gemini degree, it brings forth this Gemini influence, preparing you properly so for when the moon enters Gemini, where awareness has this necessity to move again. Thoughts start organizing themselves into language. Curiosity returns, but from a grounded base rather than restlessness. So this is not a full shift just yet. It is the hinge. So you may notice with this Taurus moon currently where it is at a Gemini degree, you may notice feeling more mentally alert after these past cycles of heaviness or stillness for some. The desire to talk about what you've been integrating, ideas forming about ways to apply what you've stabilized, and this desire to connect, plan, or even communicate, but without the chaos Gemini can sometimes bring. That's because Taurus has already slowed everything down enough to filter what's worth carrying forward. The moon in Taurus at a Gemini degree is also bringing forth a Gemini type of question of how do we express what we've anchored? And the importance of this actually occurring now energetically, 8:28 right now p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's say if the moon went from fire to air without the grounding of earth. So it went from Aries to Gemini. Communication will come from instability. Instead, with that beautiful flow from fire to earth to air to water, the moon going from Aries to Taurus has forced clarity through repetition, the alignment of value, and emotional regulation. So now when the moon goes into the sign of Gemini, it doesn't scatter. It translates, which will make the difference when it comes to reactive conversations versus intentional communication, mental noise versus meaningful exchange. And currently we have the astrology supporting this bridge right now when it comes to the bridge between grounding and mental re-engagement. Because we have Mercury conjunct Venus in Pisces that is still refining inner language, while the moon sextile Jupiter and Venus supports constructive dialogue forming. Mars in the square to Uranus keeps reminding you not to rush the process. So the sky is basically staging ground the energy first, then speak. So use this moment to write things down before announcing them. Organize your thoughts without acting on all of them. Prepare communication rather than initiate it impulsively, and notice which ideas remain after sitting with them. This is basically the rehearsal, not the performance just yet. That's Leo. The performance, or getting the show on the road. But we'll get there step by step. So we're watching, we're participating rather, in the embodiment of expression, carefully and deliberately. With the eclipse that has reset orientation, that was the moon in Aquarius, moon in Aries, thereafter is you standing up in a new cycle, Taurus moon, bringing a foundation or rooting the change first. Now, Taurus at a Gemini tone is preparing for the articulation and the moves thereafter. Now, this happening precisely on a 2-2-2 harmonic alignment. Let's look at what twos are, because it's a lot of having to do with synchronization. You can hear portal and imagine something opening, get that. However, repeating twos are more about synchronizing, because two is the number of reflection, resonance, polarity, and its cooperation in the space between impulse and action, where it puts 2-2-2 in the space of being a harmonic field where different layers of self are asked to come into agreement to partnership before movement continues, which matches the astrology perfectly right now. With Pisces dissolving, Aries redefining, Taurus stabilizing, Gemini preparing to speak. Nothing is being launched right now. Everything is being tuned for the launch phase. Esoterically speaking, in sacred number language, 1 initiates, 2 listens. 2 represents the moment creation pauses to ask, can what has begun or what was initiated sustain relationship with reality? So let's say during the time of the moon being in Aries, a fire sign, and one could not stand the heat inside the kitchen right now, that's all that's saying is that what has begun cannot sustain relationship with reality because one has not initiated in the element of fire. You see, 2 governs the nervous system aligning with equilibrium, inner and outer worlds negotiating terms, with the intuition translating it into form. It governs the breath, inhale, exhale, the most fundamental rhythm. When the 2 is repeated 3 times, the theme moves now through 3 layers. Body, are you safe enough to be here? Mind, do your thoughts match what you feel? And the field, are you acting in alignment with both body and mind, where it's safe enough to be here and thoughts match what you feel? Okay? So right now, the collective is not in a fire surge while we're in the moon in Taurus. It is in a calibration chamber. As Pisces is dissolving old motivations, Saturn, Neptune, and Aries is sketching a new identity blueprint. The Taurus moon is asking that blueprint to become livable. With the Gemini tone approaching ask, can this now be expressed coherently? A coherent expression is the brain and the heart in alignment, where one feels safe enough within the body and the thoughts match the feeling. From a space of safety, security, and trust. Two 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 moves as a metronome. Basically, it regulates the tempo so the new cycle doesn't fracture under its own momentum. Which is why in this 2-2-2 portal, you may feel as though when it comes to your perception, there's a slowing down of time in a sense, while having a heightened sensitivity without clear reason. the desire to simplify your environments, less tolerance for noise or forced interactions, awareness of subtle emotional truths surfacing gently. It's basically entrainment, the psyche sinking into a new rhythm now. The weaving basically before the road appears. So actions taken in this 222 field must be measured. When energy is in a 2 pattern, it magnifies consequences of imbalance. Push too hard, resistance increases. Withdraw completely, stagnation increases. You move with awareness now. Pathways open naturally. This is why Taurus grounding is essential here, because it gives the spiritual realignment of physical anchor. Without embodiment, mystical insight dissipates. Without stillness, new direction cannot register. And the bridge towards Gemini, the voice returns after agreement. So as the moon prepares to enter Gemini, the alignment formed during this 222 phase begins to articulate itself. But Gemini expression that follows Taurus stabilization is different from scattered communication because it becomes clear language, honest decisions, conversations that move things forward instead of circling. A portal that was never about escape, but more so about preparing coherence so expression could carry truth. Very powerful window of the essence of time that we're in right now with the 222 while the moon is in Taurus after an eclipse. Because one thing about creation itself is not a straight line. It's pulse, pause, pulse again. 222 is the pause that ensures the next movement is sustainable. You're not meant to rush through. You're meant to let inner agreement form so that when motion resumes, it does not have to be corrected. So let's take a look at what messages come through here for y'all, okay? Let's get some chords rolling in. Such a beautiful day. Welcome, everyone. Okay, let me get sure. It's still up and running here. All right. Let's get a look. Show me the energy here for the collective. Moon and Taurus showing up. What's that? Take time to breathe out. Okay. Show me the message for the collective. During this Moon and Taurus Gemini degree, someone told me that when I went live today, in this 222 energy, it was going to have something to do with the Gemini degree at some point. And it could only be a middle degree where the moon is at 15 degrees. Lo and behold, I get ready to go live. There it is. Moon and Taurus, 15 degrees. See, over this way we move with the cosmos. perpetrators, imposters allowed. Because the energy, cosmically, is always going to call you out. When you aligned, you appear divine. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. All right. Let's see what these angels and ancestors have to say. And the moon cards for the collective. Show me the energy here. Ooh. Ooh. The seer. See beyond the current situation. The star ancestor. Follow the voice of your soul. Very powerful energy. The peacemaker. Let go of the need to be right. One more. In a challenging position as it came out sideways, the direction guardian, choose your path. At the bottom of the deck, what do we have? Unleash the wild within. Loving this right now. Let's see if you can get the whole image here. Let's see. Yeah. So your first card out, the seer. Seeing beyond the current situation. This is your perception moving beyond what is actually immediately visible. So, it appears that there's an evaluation of circumstances based on what looks unfinished, slow or unclear. One thing about the seer understands that the present moment is not the full story. So it's evident that you all here are in a transition layer, possibly judging it as a final state, especially if you're in any slight of doubt. The energy showing up here with the seer, however, allow the messages through this live to shift you from what is happening right now to what is this phase preparing, stepping you into a long version type of awareness and not reaction. With the star ancestor right up after that, follow the voice of your soul. The voice of your soul provides you with guidance without noise. It's very clear. Because it's the quiet knowing that'll keep repeating itself even after you question it. Especially under the current astrology and with the moon and Taurus grounding, the voice now shows up through what consistently feels correct, what brings steadiness rather than excitement, and what you return to naturally. It's basically ancestral in the sense of being foundational, something deeper than preference. But here comes the adjustment with the peacekeeper. Where it's presenting a challenge of releasing old defensive identities or the necessity to justify, explain, or prove alignment. The peacekeeper showing up here in the third position, Gemini is 3 of the third house. The peacekeeper is asking for cooperation with change instead of argument with it. Attempting to force certainty or validation will only delay your process of integrating. It's more of the energy in regards to peace that is not passive. It is certainly in agreement with reality, though. Beautifully so, you have the direction guardian that shows up in the fourth position, or after these 3 here, after the seer, star, ancestor, and peacekeeper. We got the direction guardian, which is telling you to choose your path. It came out in this challenging position. Some of you may be experiencing a challenge when it comes to deciding what to do, when the energy should be more towards about committing to what you already know. Especially after perception, the seer, and listening, the star ancestor. The direction guardian now comes with the message of now you choose how to walk forward. However, not every option deserves attention. So being real selective when it comes to your movement and making sure that you are aligning actions with what has already been clarified. With Unleash the Wild Within at the bottom of the deck, this is the energy that's driving it completely through. The underlying energy driving all of it. As wild is not in the sense of it being chaotic, it's more so having to do with authentic, the part of you that existed before overthinking, over-explaining, or adapting to expectations. Once stabilization happens, this level of instinctive self reemerges naturally. And it should feel in that instance as a returning to something simpler rather than becoming something new. So, first things first, E50. Expand perception beyond the moment, with the seer indicating see beyond the current situation. Then listen inward without forcing answers. You got Jupiter and Cancer helping you with that while it's retrograde. And then release the necessity to control the narrative with let go of the need to be right in the peacekeeper. That way you can now, with ease, choose your direction deliberately, allowing your natural instinct to lead once alignment is clear. Don't look at it as a breakthrough phase. It's more so an alignment phase that is quietly, but for surely changing your trajectory. Whatever. Now, let's get some more messages here. Need some more tea. Let's get some more messages. We have 32, timeout. 29, shine. 15, gratitude. Love to see 15 showing up. The fact that the moon is in Taurus, where we're delivering this message at this time while it's at a Gemini degree. 15. Then at the bottom of the deck, we have 19, let go. Number 2, balance. 222, portal. And 14, golden crown. So now, make sure you can see it. I feel as though I should turn this light on. It might be a little too dark. Ooh, okay. That's a bit better. Now, first card on out here is 32, timeout. The intentional pause. The pulse, pause, pulse again. 222 energy. With this card showing up, your psyche is definitely stepping back to stop reacting to momentum that no longer applies. Aligns perfectly with that let go to need to be, right? This timeout card here actually mirrors the Taurus phase we've been discussing, grounding before engagement. Because in a position of timing out or timeout is more so about nothing is missing. Space is just being created so the next move isn't inherited from the past. Then you have shine right up on after that. And then gratitude. I mean, anyway, let me just go with it. Let me just go with it. This shine right now, 2911, visionary or the vision. The shine isn't publicly visible yet. It's inner recognition that's coming back. After stepping back, confidence reforms quietly, not through validation, but through clarity about what is actually yours to carry forward. This is basically the light turning back on internally before it's expressed externally. There you go with that Jupiter vibes again, retrograde in Cancer. Where the expansion of home, security, what feels safe, what actually supports your forward movement. It's expanding internally first, so you can recognize where you may have given that power wave for others to fulfill that energy for you. And it's all been up to you this entire time. Now, 15, the gratitude card. This would be more so reducing it to a 6. I'm hearing somebody basically have that conversation with themselves on some, you realize what you've gone through, but at the same token, grateful for it, beyond grateful for it. When you reduce this 15 to a 6, it brings it towards the energy of harmony, responsibility, alignment through care rather than force. As a result of mastery through grounded effort, internal roots that actually connect with you, what allows you to feel safe, being honored again, especially before any level of indoctrination or ways of being that truly aren't in alignment to your higher self. Also the expression of gratitude, of your awareness that you passed a phase or passing through a phase that is not meant to be lived permanently, especially one where, it wasn't the best. And more so the gratitude for living differently within the familiar territory known as yourself. Or for some of you, for once actually living in the truth of your body, brain and heart, body coherence. Then with let go, balance, and golden crown. Being able to let go fully once you've crossed the threshold, where the hardest part of it is past you, is behind you now. And now with this 2 energy tying directly to the 222 portal, with its themes of reciprocity, measured pacing, equilibrium, nothing that is extreme is going to hold here, as everything is seeking alignment in a centered space. Where now you're in alignment to earning authority or be in alignment with authority of self. Where the crown is more so symbolic of self-governance, taking responsibility for direction without needing external structure. Where in the past that may have been a challenge, as this card, Choose Your Path, came out, but it landed in what I call a challenging position. Let's dive deeper into these two. Let go, 19, and balance, 2. Clarify let go. Anything came out? Let go, wow, being clarified by the Justice card, 11. Let's let go with the 6 of Pentacles and 5 of Cups. One more. King of Cups in reverse, another. And the 9 of Wands. Clarifying 19, let go. Wow. It's giving the vibes of stop saving these people and save yourself. This 19, let go, having to do with this release point of a long, obviously a long cycle. Because with it also carrying 19, that carries completion energy as well. Not endings for the sake of endings, but the moment where something has already run its course and it's being held past its usefulness. Where what you're letting go of is not the situation itself, it's the emotional posture or energy tied to it. So if the Justice card clarifying let go, the Justice card is basically telling you the release is more so about alignment and not loss. So this is you recognizing holding on is no longer accurate, because justice doesn't negotiate with nostalgia. It could care less about what you're nostalgic about and what you may be attempting to, settle through or whatever. Judgment doesn't negotiate with nostalgia. It asks for truth and action, basically choosing what is fair to your present self, not what once was meaningful. It's an act of correction. With the Six of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles coming up after this here is basically introducing the theme of restoring equilibrium when it comes to exchange, where there was obviously an imbalance in matters of too much giving, too much holding, or too much emotional investment without reciprocity. Letting go rebalances your energy, so what flows forward is mutual, not one-sided. And we're going to clarify the balance card, but right now we're just looking at let go, which is very profound in a sense, because the balance card already connects to where the Six of Pentacles is. We're letting go of imbalances in matters of reciprocity. Letting go rebalances energy, so what flows forward is once again mutual. And there could be some emotional residue thereafter, obviously so, with the Five of Cups. This could have something to do that you've been suppressing for a while, with the King of Cups in reverse too. Because the Five of Cups is a card of grief, disappointment, or the acknowledgement that something didn't become what it once promised, basically. But it's not necessarily devastation either. It's more so the moment of turning from what's gone toward what remains. So you're not being asked to ignore the feeling. No, not at all. You're actually being asked to not live there anymore. Some of you, that's what blinded your direction as to which way to go. With this King of Cups in reverse, once again, suppressing emotions, where feelings may have been managed so tightly that they stop moving altogether. Letting go is what allows emotional flow to return. Not overwhelmed, but honest, transparent rather, presence. Allowing authenticity to be restored by releasing control. Because you're obviously tired with that Nine of Wands right after that. Nine of Wands is that fatigue card, where you realize that maintaining the old ways or the old stances is entirely exhausting. Can't give it any more reasons to make it actually fit, but let go of the need to be right with that peacekeeper up there. Know this though, with the Nine of Wands showing up here, know that you're not weak for letting go. Some of you may have people in your ear where they're saying, oh, you don't have the capability of staying in something, or you don't have the courage and all this other stuff. Listen, you are not designed to stay anywhere that exhausts you. No way. Absolutely not. With the Nine of Wands here also showing up, where you may have, been controlling a certain feeling that has stopped you from moving on together or suppressing some type of emotion. You could also be recognizing the cost of holding on. Because the Nine of Wands is basically the final guard post before resting. One thing about balance isn't something you create afterward. It's what appears once the excess weight is removed. And the fact that the balance card is here with the number 2, representing mutual exchange, which is something that possibly has drained you, the absence of it. 2 also represents emotional neutrality returning, decisions made now without strain, and the nervous system exiting defense mode. Balance is not going to come if you are out here adding more effort to something that is out of balance when it comes to reciprocity, or there's not an equal give and take or exchange. Balance is not found by adding more effort to that. It's found by subtracting what no longer belongs. Letting go is not abandonment in this case. There may have been abandonment issues in the past that led to holding on to whatever this energy is that causes you to control or suppress your emotions to the point that it energetically paralyzes you. When you let go, it's alignment. That's the Justice card showing up here. Clarifying the let go card, as a matter of fact. It's alignment, redistribution with the 6 of Pentacles, emotional acknowledgement of what it is you're letting go, releasing over control with this here King of Cups in reverse, and ending that cycle of holding on to struggles. When one lets go, that's when balance can become possible. Not even as an idea either, but more so as a lived state. Basically, it's not so much about forgetting. It's you're being asked to just stop carrying what no longer serves you. What remains after you stop carrying what no longer serves you is exactly where you're meant to move forward with. Let's clarify balance. You even have at the bottom of the deck right now too. 33, soul fragments, balance will be restored. 31, surrender. And 11, cosmic connections. Let's clarify balance, card number 2. Balance. Wow, Another major arcana. You have the World card, clarifying balance. Ooh. With the Moon card coming out in a challenging position. Okay. The Chariot. Major arcanas clarifying the balance card. A. One more. And the Judgment? What in the major arcanaville y'all got going on? Tell me more. One more. Balance. With the Five of Wands. What's at the bottom? You have the Three of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Seven of Wands. High Priestess. And back to the Justice card. But okay. All right. Just, yep. This makes sense. Makes complete sense. Wow. This thing here, clarifying balance, this major arcana, Stidat. 21, 18, 7, 20, and 5. This is a major course correction here, collective, especially with these many major arcanas. A course correction moment where the psyche is basically reorganizing itself at a deeper level. Because what we notice first, right? Let's go here. This is phenomenal. We have soul fragments, surrender, and cosmic connections. Basically set in the backdrop before we even touch the clarifiers for real. Where parts of the self that were scattered across roles and expectations or any type of emotional investments. With the surrender card of not giving up, but stopping the attempt to control how these pieces return and allowing the reassembly to happen through alignment and not effort. Mind you, as above, so below. If you are inquiring about an image of the higher self in your physical vessel, here it is. Ascended master number with this cosmic connection, 11. The vessel itself, the body, balance card number 2. Beautiful connection here already. So right now, balance is not even being manufactured. It's actually being restored through reintegration. So basically, first and foremost, the clarifiers we got is the World card. So the World card showing up first is basically the completion, integration, wholeness after a long cycle, which is also letting us know that your balance is not ahead of you. Your balance is what emerges because something already concluded. Where you're not even seeking equilibrium. You're more so stepping into it after finishing a phase, literally. But the World card first. Now, with the Moon card coming out sideways, this is the emotional echo of a past cycle. Where there could be this sense of uncertainty lingering after closure. Any type of subconscious habits that's still reacting as if the struggle continues. Or the fear of trusting the calm, where the calm feels very foreign and, It's not the norm for you because the crisis identity is what has been more of the norm. The moon in this sideways position or challenging position is more so, the challenge is not confusion itself. It's you recognizing where you don't have to interpret uncertainty as danger. Because the moon in this position is basically a signal to you all collective to allow for tolerance of ambiguity while the system recalibrates. Yes, it's not comfortable, but don't sit there and interpret uncertainty as danger. With the Chariot coming out after the moon card in this position, and then look how it's looking at Judgment, which is the Chariot is basically the sign that direction returns. The two cards that came out in a challenging position has to do with your subconscious habits that at one point was influencing the directions you would take. Because it's the moon card and the choose your direction card. But the Chariot showing up here, whenever the Chariot comes out in any spread, it's because something has been accepted, therefore surrender kicks in. The final dissolving or dissolution phase, Pisces energy as well. Not the Chariot, that's Pisces energy, but the dissolution phase, Pisces, where we got all these planets in the sign of Pisces and the luminary of the sun in Pisces. Now, for some of you, it's also an indication that it's time to surrender. Others, you have surrendered, and the sign of surrendering is accepting the release of the previous version of yourself that was connected more to identity crisis. Because with the Chariot is controlled forward movement, not rushing, you're not drifting. You're moving along or steering the way with awareness. This is basically balance becoming mobile. You don't freeze into stillness, you move from a centered state. And while also can see that you'll be surrendering or accepting, which is actually one of the final stage of this 5 of Cups, or the 5 stages of grief, helping you to step into a space of balance. The Judgment card showing up, that's acknowledgement, where you recognize who you are now versus who you were. It's the quiet moment of you saying, all right, I don't have to continue that version of self. Now, once you do that, of course, the residual friction shows up, which is this 5 of Wands that came up afterward, where there may be some internal or external tension that remains, not because conflict is returning. Keep that in mind. If any sort of internal or external tension remains after you recognize who you are now versus who you were, and you don't have to continue that version of yourself, choosing to surrender, release, moving from a more centered state, not interpreting uncertainty as danger, once you recognize who you are now versus who you were and not continue to be that version, some internal or external tension can show up. Not because, again, conflict is returning, but because old patterns haven't fully dissolved yet. You can look at it more so as adjustment noise. You got some level of stiffness going on within the body. You go to a chiropractor, they snap you, pop, 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 adjustment noise. Yeah. It sounds crazy, but it makes you feel better right after that. This Five of Wands showing up after all of these major arcanas is what happens when identity shifts faster than the environment. Then at the foundation of your spread here, you got the Three of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, High Priestess, and the Justice card with the Sun right behind it. And look at what's after that. You really prepared to let go of what no longer serves you. That's beautiful. Full circle. So, Three of Pentacles is controlled ambition, Mars in Capricorn. The card that grounds all of this, where you're rebuilding now through collaboration, practice, and real world application. Where now your balance is stabilized through any small yet coordinated actions and working with reality instead of resisting it. Allowing new structures to take shape gradually. With the Seven of Wands, High Priestess, and the Justice card here, right up on after that, man. Seven of Wands is basically telling you to stand or hold your ground and don't re-enter any old struggles to prove anything. Trust your inner knowing over external noise with the High Priestess showing up here, because not everything requires an explanation. And with the Justice card showing up again and right behind that trusting of your inner knowing over external noise, the Justice card is basically the energy of you living in alignment with what you already understand to be true. And Justice returning here again is basically echoing what we clarified, let go earlier, where it's more so about accuracy and not the emotion. It's important to be aware that in moments of balance, it's not always a peaceful pause. It can be the re-entering that happens after fragmentation ends. It is that. It is the re-entering that happens after fragmentation ends. Where you may still feel echoes, the Moon and the Five of Wands that showed up there earlier, but direction is always reestablished, the Chariot. Especially the cycle that has already closed with the World card. With the identity already shifting, Judgment. Now the work moving forward here, collective, is simply to live from that recognition consistently. Three of Pentacles with the Justice. Because you're not searching for balance. You are recalibrating to trust that it's already forming and to stop interfering with it. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and grab you an animal oracle message to close this reading. You got this. You got it. is being put into place and into order. Final message for the collective. Here we go. The bear and the dolphin at the bottom of the deck. The bear, unconditional love, playful, protective. Collective, you are being guided to rest and enjoy yourself and others. Create balance in your life and follow your truths. You will intuitively know when and how to take inspired action. You have immense inner wisdom and physical strength. You see how that just comes right around there, full circle. And the B, the dolphin speaks of intelligence, grace, and playfulness. You are being guided to be as a child, have fun and enjoy life. Be playful, spontaneous, enthusiastic, and carefree. Find what excites you. Make your mark in the world. We are here to experience, expand, and create what we desire. Let's read the B. Creativity, cooperation, productivity. You are being guided to change something in your life. Become inspired. Follow your heart and creatively build your future with today's decisions. You have no limitations, and there are no boundaries to your capabilities. Any assistance you require will always be found. Let's get one more. I love these cards. Let's get one more. The bison. I mean, this is more of a buffalo, but abundance, success, personal power. You are being guided to be flexible. Go with the flow and allow things to happen rather than force them. Universal opportunities are stacked around you. Center yourself and resonate with your core values, and you will reap many rewards. That is your message for this 222 portal. I'll see you on the next live. Ciao.